The sky above Sector 7 burned with an unnatural crimson hue, smoke billowing from the wreckage of what used to be humanity's last stronghold. Cameron pressed his back against the crumbling concrete wall, his rifle trembling in his grip. 3 years of war against the Zetherian forces had hardened him, turned him into something he barely recognized anymore. But nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to witness. Through the chaos of explosions and screaming soldiers, Cameron spotted her small figure huddled near an overturned vehicle. At first, he thought it was a human child, lost in the devastation, but as he moved closer, his heart seized. The girl's skin shimmered with an ethereal silver luminescence, and her eyes, those impossibly large, crystalline eyes, marked her as one of them. A Zetherian child. Luna. He'd heard whispers about her in the barracks. The alien girl who'd been separated from her people during the initial invasion, who'd somehow survived in the ruins, scavenging and hiding. Some soldiers wanted her captured for interrogation. Others wanted her dead. Cameron had never given it much thought until now, until he saw her there, small and terrified, her tiny hands covering her pointed ears as the world exploded around her. Every instinct screamed at him to walk away. She was the enemy. Her people had devastated Earth, reduced cities to ash, killed millions. His own sister had died in the first wave, but as Cameron stared at Luna, all he saw was a child alone, afraid, and about to die. The Zetherian cruiser descended from the clouds like a mechanical angel of death, its weapons charging with an ominous hum that made Cameron's teeth ache. The targeting laser swept across the battlefield, painting everything in its path with crimson death. It locked onto Luna's position. Cameron didn't think, he simply moved. His boots pounded against the shattered pavement as he sprinted toward her. Luna's head snapped up, those crystalline eyes widening in terror, not of the cruiser, but of him. She'd learned to fear humans with good reason. She scrambled backward, but there was nowhere to go. "I'm not going to hurt you," Cameron shouted, though he doubted she understood. The cruiser's weapons reached critical charge, the air itself seeming to vibrate with destructive potential. Cameron threw himself over Luna's small frame, his body becoming a shield between her and the inevitable blast. He felt her stiffen beneath him, heard her sharp intake of breath. For a moment, time seemed to stop. He thought of his sister, of his parents, of the life he'd never get to live. Then the world turned white. The explosion should have vaporized them both. Cameron felt the heat, felt the shockwave lifting him, felt his consciousness beginning to slip away. But something else happened, something impossible. As the blast wave hit, Luna's body erupted with light, not the silver shimmer of her skin, but a blinding, pure radiance that seemed to push back against the destruction itself. In his fading awareness, Cameron felt a warmth spreading through his body, not burning but soothing, knitting together wounds he didn't know he had, filling him with a strange peace. Then everything went dark. When Cameron's eyes finally opened, he expected to see either heaven or the inside of a body bag. Instead, he found himself staring up at a gray sky, alive and impossibly whole. He sat up slowly, his hands exploring his body for injuries that weren't there, not even a scratch. But it was what he saw next that made his breath catch in his throat. The entire battlefield had gone silent. Thousands of soldiers, both human and Zetherian, had dropped to their knees, row upon row of warriors, weapons lowered, heads bowed in what could only be described as reverence. The Zetherian cruiser hovered motionless above them, its weapons powered down. Luna stood a few feet away, still glowing with that ethereal light, but it was fading now, returning her to her normal silver luminescence. She stared at Cameron with those huge eyes, and for the first time, he saw something other than fear in them. Recognition, gratitude, connection. A Zetherian commander approached, his towering form moving with unexpected grace. He knelt before Cameron and Luna, and when he spoke, his words came through a translation device in accented but clear English. "The child is of the royal bloodline," he said, his voice filled with awe. "She possesses the ancient gift, the ability to share life force, to heal and protect. It has not manifested in our people for 1,000 generations." He looked at Cameron with something approaching wonder. "You gave your life to protect her, human. In doing so, you awakened her gift. She has bound herself to you, shared her essence to save you." Cameron looked down at his hands, seeing faint silver traces along his veins, already fading but unmistakable. "I don't understand." "You acted with honor," another voice said. This time it was General Martinez, the human commander, limping forward with her own rifle lowered. "In a war where we've all forgotten what that means." "You remembered." She too knelt, and behind her, every human soldier followed suit. Luna moved closer to Cameron, her small hand reaching out to touch his. Where their skin met, that warmth returned, gentle and reassuring. She spoke then, in her musical language, and the translator converted her words. "You are my guardian now, and I am yours." Cameron looked around at the kneeling armies, at the weapons being lowered, at enemies seeing each other, really seeing each other for the first time in 3 years. He didn't know what would happen next, whether this moment would lead to peace or just a temporary ceasefire. But as Luna's hand gripped his, he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He had changed the course of history by simply choosing to be human when it mattered most. The war wasn't over, but perhaps, just perhaps, this was how it could end, not with more death, but with two unlikely souls standing together, proving that compassion could still exist in a universe consumed by hate. Cameron squeezed Luna's hand gently and stood, bringing her with him. The armies remained kneeling, waiting. It was time to build something new.